Welcome to the
good,
Ham Radio
man.
Clubhouse.
What's going on?
I'm here, man. I'm here.
All right, gotta ask, like we always do.
Yes.
Did that music have a little southern? But
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that was
Mm,
totally
So that was
Southern rock.
that was kind of like maybe a Molly Hatchet or a ZZ Top or maybe
Okay.
even a Bad Company. I think it had more of a Southern rock thing than
all right,
anything.
trivia
so.
question: Who was the band? I think it was for Ghostbusters. The Boys Are Back in Town. Who were singing that? They did a rendition of. Yeah, Rockabilly Sensibility. Thank you.
Yeah.
See, Jody says something not funny, but absolutely correct. And Jody, we got to get you on this show. You got to send us an email, man. But
I want to say that was Thin Lizzy.
yes, okay.
They did the rendition of The Boys Are Back in Town.
There's
Or they may have
Plasma
been the
with
original. I can't remember.
They may have been the original, but then someone else did a. Anyway, that was very good.
I see it in the chat. I see a lot of people saying Thin Lizzy. So if you know what the alternate is, let us know. And we have, look at this, guys. We haven't even got started. We got Andy Cowley coming in with the 449
Andy,
super
thank
sticker. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
He was first tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Andy, your money is good with us. Just remember
What's
that.
up,
Your
guys?
money is good. Molson,
Well,
and you're
Daniel,
good. And you're good with us, Molson.
look at all those blue lights.
Am I good with you? I don't know.
Oh, accented.
Yes, you are, Molson. Molson, you're better than good. You're best.
Watch out.
You are one of the best.
Well,
I missed you last week.
since we've been doing it for a while, what was that? Was that Steve?
Yeah,
What
so-
who's Mario?
this
Who's Mario
is-
went down the tunnel?
This is
Or got-
97 shows, and you don't have
Got-
your stuff muted behind.
He got
No, I
beaten by the
don't. Thank you,
dragon.
Mike. That is
Thanks,
just
Mike.
classic right there. The list for the alternates is down in the ladies' room.
Good old Iceman.
Yep.
Joe Brad. Look what I got, Joe. I
Donuts.
got a donut.
So, Joe, do you want to go ahead and get it out of the way? As you can see on the back of Joe's screen, it's typical. Back to mid. Here we go. Well, it's not as bad.
Hey, it slacked up just a little bit. And by the way, Daniel, I'll just let you know I go to the donut shop every morning and get a biscuit.
And get a biscuit. Vern, thanks for the $5 super chat. Goat
Thank you,
farming
Vern.
music. Joe and Molson will understand.
Oh, that was priceless. Do you guys know about that?
No.
No.
Do
Oh,
explain.
Joe. Somebody on Twitter says it's time to something along the lines. It's time to give up coding, and I'll move to the country and start farming. He says F coding. Let's move to the country and start
Yes.
goat farming, right? And Vern 6, he says, I'm in. And I said, I'm in until you start saying F the goats, and then I'm out. And then you're on your own.
Then you're on your own, buddy. So I will say there's some new icons in the chat. Everyone in green is a channel supporter, so thank you for that. But if you'll notice, the longer that you're a supporter, your icon will change. So now that we've been at this for a little over a month with the channel subscribers, you'll notice there's been an upgrade. So Ed and Jody, they've got the new ones, the little
Andy.
yeah, Andy's got it. It's
Hey,
the
Shane?
QR zombie. So it's the zombie dude with holding a bow fang.
Hey Shane,
Yes.
what if I wanted to become a club member? How do I do it?
Well, it's funny you ask, Bob.
You don't.
Down at the bottom, underneath all of us, you'll see a join button. You can hit the join
Yeah.
button, and we have 99 cents, I think, is the minimum to support the channel. We appreciate that. And then if you don't want to do that, there's always the buy me a coffee if you like.
But
And,
wait,
that's
there's
just,
more.
That's just buy me a coffee / whiskey 2 Hotel Romeo Charlie. And that I'm sure Steve or somebody will drop that link in there. And so there's multiple ways if you want to support. If you don't want to do any of that, just watch a commercial. That's all.
Hey, listen, our podcasts have been doing
Oh,
very
fantastic.
well. Those watching on Twitter Live, welcome.
We can't see your comments, but thanks for watching on Twitter. Absolutely.
That's cool, man. Hey, listen, there's always team replay here on YouTube. Listen, we've got a lot of things. Seriously, guys, I get excited. I have been excited for a couple weeks now. I have been doing things that I haven't done in a long time, and I'm rocking it, man.
So speaking of, how was everyone's weekend? We had contest and POTA, and so Izzo, you want to start it off?
Took the kids out to Rhode Island. We went out to go do some memories, and we had a great time. We had some great memories. This is all about being positive, moving forward. But of course, this guy had said, "Hey kids, do you mind if I go to a park?" And of course, they said no. I said, "I'll only be 15 minutes," which in ham radio time is
2 hours.
At minimum. At 2 hours, you go, oh, it's been 15 minutes already.
Went to one of the bigger parks in Rhode Island. It's called Brenton Point. Looks right over the Atlantic Ocean. There's nothing to block a signal. Matthew helped me set up the NFED half wave. Took the ICOM 705 out for its maiden voyage, and I want to thank KAMRD for being my supporter who says, "You can do it."
You got to ham harder.
You just got to ham harder. Well, guess what? My first contact on 10 meters was to Oregon, and my daughter Maggie
from
went,
Connecticut.
And Maggie doesn't swear a lot, but when she said, "Holy shit, Dad, you went to Oregon," and then
the magic of ham radio.
And then I think it was on either 17 or 20, I pulled like 3 Canadians in the Ottawa area and everything, and it was just a fun. I mean, I only busted 21. It was fun. We were playing a game of daylight sunset, but it was just so. Oh, Matt Hurry, I worked Matt Hurry. I mean that's always when you can work Matt, and so many other friends, POTA friends. It was just so nice to feel that you got it back going again.
And I looked on, I think it was on Saturday, there's over 100 spots. Like at 9 and 10 o'clock in the morning, there was over 100 spots on the spotting page for POTA.
It was insane. I was at work drooling. My ham alert is going off. I'm on the POTA page looking at all the spots. It was an incredible weekend.
Thanks for swinging by, Vern.
Enjoy your dinner. Thank you as always. But it was just an absolute fun time. Let's continue to go around the horn, and real quickly, I am smoking the LFD, guys.
Is that the double Ligero?
Yes, it is. Very
a fantastic cigar.
Very nice smoke. You guys want a nice, good 90-minute, 2-hour smoke? Here you go. And then we're going to talk. I want to talk about some other things, but let's just continue going around the room of what everybody is doing.
Yeah, Steve, how about you, man? How was your weekend?
Weekend was not long enough, but
are they ever?
No, they're not. Had a bunch of chores to do around the house Friday night, Saturday. The wife was off, so got to keep her happy. Sunday, she actually let me get out and go to a park, so I just ran over my local park and knocked out about 50 contacts. And then I've actually been there. Went yesterday and today. And today I got kicked out because they decided to close the gates.
So Steve was kicked out of a park.
Yep, 40 contacts in 20 minutes.
Did you tell them? Do you know who I am?
Exactly. Complain about that. No, I was actually.
I'm on YouTube.
This is Ham Radio Clubhouse.
Did you tell them?
Speaking of the royalty here.
I'm on YouTube.
I'm on YouTube.
I will say,
I'm an influencer.
I'm an influencer.
Yep.
Evan, thanks for the $10 super chat. Izzo, did you just say fun?
Yes, I said the F word, and I'll say it again. I had fun this weekend for many days. Friday and Sunday, I had a fantastic time. So yes.
Back to you, Steve.
But yep. Kyle worked me today in the park, and of course, I gave him a please copy.
Of course you did.
Nice.
You have to.
One.
Yep.
It's part of the exchange.
Got Victor 5-1 whiskey on 20 meters.
Do you have a map? You show us where Victor 5 is at? I bet if you on QRZ, if you pull that contact up, it would show you.
Hang on.
Because that sounds oddly unfamiliar.
So
while he's looking, does anybody in the chat know where Victor 5 territory is?
Come on. You guys are good.
I know, right?
We ask you to do a meme, and usually in 45 seconds it's done.
This is even better, Steve. Mike says, just tell him that you know K at MRD.
That's
there
right.
You go.
Yeah,
He
they'll
is
keep the park
big
open for you.
He's the big influencer.
Holy cow!
Whoa! Look at that.
South Africa on
7,326 miles.
Yep.
Steve,
No, that's for my QTH.
what antenna? Steve, what antenna?
Yeah, what antenna was this?
The ATOS 120
So mobile.
Look at
mobile.
that. A whip. A mobile
whip.
whip.
A whip.
A whip.
Well,
Whip.
a screwdriver.
Antenna. Screwdriver
Oh, yeah.
antenna.
But yeah,
on,
once I
guys,
got it
this
to
is-
freaking tune.
This is when you guys do it, when the sunspot numbers are up. You're not going to
Globally
do
radio.
that. You're not going to do that when there's 4 sunspots. This is when you're doing it at 100 and 200. This is you take advantage of it. Go for it.
Yep. So, yeah, I'm loving that antenna. It makes it easy to get in, throw the radio on the dash, tune up,
Nice.
activate.
Move to the next park.
Yeah, that's coming. That's coming.
That's what I'm saying. You got another Rove coming.
I'm going for the big Rove probably this summer. I've kind of got it.
What's the
mapped
big
out.
one?
Oh, you would ask me that.
It's I think it's 35.
30 or 35 in a UTC day.
Oh, good luck with that, buddy.
Oh,
That's a lot of drive. In Texas, you'd be driving for 14 hours.
Hey
yeah,
guys,
see,
a
I'm
quick
not in
break for a minute.
Texas.
Have we had Mike Kenner on the show yet?
We have not.
Mike, send me the email. I want you on the show too by spring. Because
Mhm.
Mike has been busting out some POTA. He's been doing it with his family. I want you on this show too. Get it going, my brother.
We need one of those "We want you" signs.
Yep.
Yes.
The Uncle Sam, "We want you.
So
Come join us."
The
on the
Rover
Clubhouse.
Lion is 30 references in a single UTC day.
Oof,
So could you
man,
do
that-
15 and then do 15 again?
No, it's
On a
30
different band?
unique.
Oh,
oh,
30 unique references.
that's a lot of hauling.
that's
I've
a lot of
got-
POTA in.
So I've got a buddy here locally that he and I were talking about it on the radio today. I think we're probably going to set it up where we switch off driving so we can sleep in between parks,
Scout, thank you,
but
asshole.
and then just wake up and pass the mic and move to the next park.
And then you have until what 6 a.m. local
Yeah,
or 7 a.m. local, I think, for your
But
At your time?
we have to start at that time too
Ooh,
because
Right.
it's the UTC day,
right.
so complicated.
which means
Steve just
all of
figured it out.
all of the wildlife
Welcome back,
management
Daniel.
areas will be hit overnight.
Oh yeah, because there's no opening and closing time for them.
That's it.
You know, it's
He's
sort of
got
like
this planned out.
but it's sort of like drinking a bottle. When you drink the bottle and you don't finish the bottle and you go back to it the next day, you're still on the same bottle. Or same thing for a cigar. Just get it done.
Do you start over
true.
with a cigar, like cut the cherry off, relight it the next day? I've
But
tried
never-
that, and it just doesn't
but-
taste the same.
But don't ever put it back into your humidor. Just
Oh,
leave
God,
it in the
no.
ashtray. No.
Yeah.
So,
Molson, you okay over there?
but yeah, that's all
Oh,
I've got.
I got home from work and I like last minute I had a quick shower when I was
You wanna
running
know?
into my who me? No, I told my wife when I was in the shower. I said reset the router because you guys are on my internet. Anyway, she texted me like when I cut out there, she's like, "Oh, I forgot to reset the router. I'm gonna do it now." I'm like, "I'm in the fucking shower."
Does she not know? Does she not know we got Walt on tonight? Come
Right?
on, honey.
Right?
Dude, listen. Yeah, Molson Ranton. 3, 2. No, this weekend, guys, for me, my daughter turned 18. How you feel so old.
Yay! Congratulations. Nice.
Dude, I remember when I was changing her diapers and she had that projectile crap that just came across. And any parent knows what I'm talking about. They know exactly what I'm talking
Wonder
about.
where she gets it from.
Now she's 18. Listen.
Shane got that.
Life's crazy busy. I don't know what else. I can't even remember what I did this morning. I don't. So I'm just happy to be here.
I know the
Are you
feeling.
gonna have are you gonna have a blizzard later?
No, I'm not. My son.
Oh, see, that's
My
why.
my son went, his buddy came, his buddy just got his full driver's license. He came by to surprise him. So let's go for a drive, right? So they go to Tim Hortons and he brings me a donut, which I hate these donuts. I like
What,
the
a chocolate
Boston
covered?
cream. No,
But
you
they're
gotta get You got yeah. See, 8 Mile's what I'm talking about. You got to get the one that they're cream filled in the middle. And he didn't bring me a coffee. So
Epic
He's got
fail.
learned how to
Send
take
him
care of
out.
A
Do it
donut,
again,
no
son. Do it
coffee?
again.
Fail. No.
Redo it, but go to DQ instead. How about that?
It's
No,
15
anyways.
degrees outside and I want ice cream.
I'm just happy to be here. It's been a hectic week. So far it's
Well-
only Tuesday.
I know,
Molson,
right?
Molson, you said it. This is your Tuesday sanctuary. Of fun.
Don't relax too much and let the wind out. We don't want to hear that.
Anyways, speed on next. I think Walt's getting. I think he's falling asleep in the background.
Hey, it
there,
looks
so we
like he's
gotta-
falling asleep.
He looks like
We're
so we
almost
gotta-
done. Joe Brett, did
Shane.
you get any radio done?
What?
Did you
He
get any
can't hear you
radio
for the
done
hell.
this weekend?
No, I did. Well, I did Sunday. I did chase some parts, support your parts. I gave out some contacts from the house here, and Saturday took the other half out to a concert. So funny story about that. I took her last year on a trip, and we got there, and I was browsing my phone trying to figure out, something to do. It was a little small town where she grew up. I surprised her with that. So not a lot to do in middle Kentucky, nowhere. And I was scrolling through there, and I said, hey, I was naming this. She was saying no, naming the no. I said, do you know Cody Johnson? She said no. I said, okay. So I kept scrolling. Well, then the next day we're leaving, and we go by the arena, and she's like, oh, my God, Cody Johnson was playing. We missed it. And she starts, crying and stuff. And I'm like, if your ass would have been listening. She said, I thought you was asking if I knew somebody on Facebook or something. I'm like, no. So that was her Christmas, was those tickets, and we showed up Saturday, which was an adventure. It's like an hour in traffic, an hour in line. Missed the total first little show there, but and then it took an hour to get out of the place. But
He puts on
Yeah,
a hell of a
fun.
show.
yeah, it was pretty good.
His
It was
his steel guitar player's on TikTok, and it's really awesome.
I got video of him. He was playing. He played Metallica
Yep.
song on it, and I was like, "Oh wow, all
I'll
right."
send you the link to his channel. It's awesome.
I'll mute now. Thank you. Me and the Rain's gonna sit here.
So a little development going on here.
Uh-oh.
What's that?
My wife texted me saying, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off during
Oh,
this."
wait. Save
So-
that. Save that
She's
text.
watching.
Yeah,
Save the
exactly.
Screenshot that text. Frame it. Put it in the archive in case you ever have to use
Hold on.
it.
You'll need
Not
that.
against her, but you know what I'm saying.
I'm using it now. Listen.
No,
I
but
said,
it's good for a couple more times.
listen. I said, don't worry about it. You can make it up to me by going to get DQ. So
What?
we'll see what happens.
I'm thinking of a couple other options that really shouldn't be said on the air right now. But if you want to make DQ number one,
Hey, he's got his priorities straight, Izzo. Come on now.
Yeah, look at Jody. He knew it right away.
Well, I'm gonna make mine short and sweet. I worked. I didn't have anything to do this weekend. Finally had a couple days off. I got the antenna that I've been trying to get the review done forever and a day. I took it out. Was gonna film. I couldn't get the damn thing to tune on anything where I was at. Could not get anything on it. Reached out to HOA Ham. He's done a video on this, and he goes, from everything you showed me in the pictures and everything you've talked about, it was set up right. And I was like, if I got to send this thing back to Taiwan for another coil, I'm going to be really pissed. So I was like, you know what? I have an idea. And he had an idea. He goes, you know what? How many? It looks like you were using 6 radials. And I was like, yeah, had 6 16.5-foot radials on it. He goes, well, unplug 3 of them and see if it'll work on 3. So I put it over here in my living room and ran the radial down to the other end of the kitchen and tuned it up on 20 at a 1.1 to 1.15 SWR. So I was like, okay, that's the problem. So there is a such thing as too many radials. That'll be covered in the video. That's all I got.
did you do anything with the balloons? The
No,
hot air?
no. This weather has been crap over the last few days. So hopefully once all this is done and we come back into more settled weather pattern, I'll get to play
Yeah, 'cause
balloon again.
And it's scheduled to start coming up to the Northeast tomorrow afternoon into the evening. So
45 asked, did any of us participate in the North American QSO party? I don't think anyone did. Kyle did, and I think he streamed it too.
He was streaming some.
Well, we've kept Walt waiting, and those of you that have saw the thumbnail, we've got Walt with us from Coastal Waves and Wires, fantastic YouTube channel. Walt, welcome to the stream, my friend.
Welcome to the clubhouse, my brother.
And I have a starred comment before we get rolling here, because we didn't do this last time, but we needed to make a nomination for Walt. So just get this out of the way. So Mike has made the first nomination, and I'll make a second.
All in favor?
We're not even going to ask if anyone disagrees.
All right. So you're as part of the Ham Radio Clubhouse. The clubhouse is actually a clubhouse entity. We have memberships, honorary memberships. We still send you a bill for dues. Most of them get returned, address not available, return to sender.
Return to sender.
But anyone who's been on the show, we like to induct them officially into the clubhouse. So Walt, welcome. Thanks for being here. It's all you.
I'm on.
At this point right now, since we're doing it backwards, we should just do the whole show backwards right now.
So we're gonna start working radio and then get back to
for everybody. All right, so everyone knows I get excited when it comes to radio stuff. I help out with scheduling everybody. I need to make the formal apology to Walt because Walt was on our calendar for next week. And last week I said, everybody, Walt's coming this week and everything. And then Walt sends me the email. I'm like, oh, shit. I'm the guy who uses the Google Calendar. But Walt was gracious enough to say, he rearranged his schedule. He stopped all his ham radio and stuff to be here. And Walt, on behalf of everybody, of me, I apologize for my stupidity and my big mouth and my excitement because I, like many others, have followed you now for a while. So what got you going, man? Like all of a sudden you just appeared out of nowhere and you were doing cool stuff and you continued.
Like, who is this guy?
Yeah, it's like, my God, look at what he's doing. And now you're doing drawings, but like, take us from the beginning. Well, who are you? Like, and where'd you come from?
All right. Wow. All right. I don't want to be too long-winded with this, but
we got 2 hours, buddy. Take all the time you want.
And Joe Brett is muted, so you got to fill in his shoes.
I'm an old man. I'm coming up on 61 years old, but I'll tell you, I started in radio hobby when I was about 12 years old. I was a big shortwave listener, and it started out. I had a friend that had the shortwave radio, so we used to go over his house and we'd sit in his dad had it. We'd tune all around the world or whatever. And I was like, this is so cool. I want one of these. I bugged my parents and couldn't get one. So I scraped together $29.95 and Radio Shack had a kit radio called the Glow Patrol.
Oh my God.
I miss Radio Shack.
Yeah. It's got like 1974. So I bought this thing and I'm 12 years old, never used a soldering iron, didn't know what the hell I was doing. But I pulled it off. I read the instructions and built this shortwave radio at 12 years old in 1974. Put the batteries in it, threw this wire out the window, and turned the dial. And there was Radio Prague in Czechoslovakia. Now, put yourself in 1974, Cold War, the Ruskies, us, whatever. I'm like, oh my God. The FBI, the CIA is coming. I'm listening to the bad guys on the other side of the wall. Whatever.
Yeah.
It just got me into radio really quick. So I've always been a big time DXer, and I started with shortwave and medium wave coming up. Then I'm an engineer. I went into this was like now it's the 80s. I'm out of high school, going to college or whatever. And I got into design engineering. So what I do, Shane was talking about my drawings or whatever. I'm a design engineer. I started out old school way back when we used to have the draft on the board and do our drawings with, pen and paper on a, drawing board and that type of thing. But I've just worked in Department of Defense for the Navy or whatever, designing ship masts, parts of ships and stuff like that. So was always into it. And for some reason, I just never became a ham for the longest time because I just enjoyed listening. That was my thing. And then when COVID hit, the whole work from home thing or whatever, I got to find something else to do. I got all this time. in the back of my mind, I thought, I've always wanted to be a ham radio operator. So studied, took the tech and the general pretty much at the same time.
Nice.
Got on.
Nice. Good job.
Yeah, got on, got my license. And I knew enough about radio and whatever, from being a hobbyist, just from a listener. But what I wanted to do, I wanted to document my learning process as I was learning about antennas and whatever. Being an engineer, and a guy that did drawings, I wanted to draw it on video. I wanted everything I did. I wanted to document the process of building an antenna and getting on. So I made the big mistake. The biggest mistake. Hey, you're out there. This is a mistake.
You bought an ICOM radio.
Oh,
Hey.
I own one.
The man got a YouTube channel is what he did.
No, the biggest mistake you could ever make is asking a question on Facebook.
You're absolutely right. He knows now. I saw your comment. I saw your comment a couple days ago. Absolutely right.
Well, this really,
Craig, thanks for the super chat.
Comment and the reason I get so damn pissed off about it was that really was the genesis of my channel. So I'm getting ready to go over to Kauai. This is 2 years ago. I'm a general. This is 2 years ago. I'm a general at the time. I'm still a general until Saturday morning, guys. I'm taking the extra test this Saturday morning.
Hey,
good.
Best of luck, man.
Thank you. I'm crushing the practice test, so I think I'll be all right. But anyway, so I really wanted to go to Kauai. I had never been portable on the beach. It's like 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. So I come up with this idea. This drawings that you see me doing, the little sketches.
Mm-hmm.
I will show some of those in a minute.
Vertical with some counterpoise wires going into the water. I'm an engineer, so I read all these papers from the government about the like radio over water or whatever. So I'm getting all deep into it. I'm like, all right, I got an idea. I'm going to build a vertical. I'm going to go to the beach in Hawaii, and I'm going to work QRP, 5 watts. I'm going to just burn it up. I'm going to blow it up. So dumbass me puts this on Facebook. Hey, guys, I'm going to Hawaii. This is the antenna I'm going to put up right here. Lo and behold, man, I swear to God, a minute in, when I post this thing on this group, I've been a ham for 56 years.
That's how it starts. I gotta show you my name badge first.
It doesn't work because it didn't work for me, which means it's not going to work for you.
But the guy said that it doesn't work, and you need to build a dipole. I'm thinking, I just read this paper that were like some of the greatest RF engineers in the Department of Defense have written on how salt water affects
propagation.
RF and a signal.
Right.
And I'm thinking, here I got this thing that I've done some deep research on, and this asshole is trying to tell me to build a dipole. You know what I mean? I was like, all right,
You need a dipole.
I know what I'm going to do.
Yes.
I didn't even have video plans. I didn't even have a channel at the time. As a matter of fact, if anyone goes to my channel, it's the first. Go all the way back to the beginning. It's
Is this
the first video.
Rybakov?
The first thing I said. No. This is like a year and a half ago. This is like video number 1. It's like 75 videos ago, and it said, and I go out there and go, "Hey, I'm Walt K4OGO. I'm in Kauai, Hawaii. They're saying you can't make contacts QRP from Hawaii. Well, I'm going to build a vertical. Let's see what." And then next thing you know, I'm talking to ZLs in New Zealand. You know what I mean? So hey, it's like it was just that was the genesis of getting the channel off the ground, and that's why it worked. And I said, you know what? I like this. The driving thing about the first 4 or 5 months of my channel, it wasn't to get 1,000 subscribers and get monetized. It was to shut the freaking YouTube. I'm sorry, the freaking Facebook Jesus up. I wanted to just shove it up their ass. You know what I mean? That's all
I'm
I
going to
wanted
prove it to them. I'm going to prove it to them.
See, Walt, you got kind of a couple strikes against you. First of all, you go to Facebook for answers. The second thing is you have a YouTube channel, and the reality is,
Father Molson. Here's the Father Molson report.
I was
Father
schooled.
Molson.
I was schooled if you have a YouTube channel that you're pretty much a self-centered narcissist, and to be humble No, really, an amateur
You're right.
radio who wants to influence the community, and an amateur radio operator who wants to influence the community. The way to be humble is to get a big ass billboard with your picture on it, and no, and then you're just as humble as Mother Teresa, like, and somehow you got all the credibility. It's amazing. I don't know what it is.
Hang on, where'd my stickers go?
Right? Mine's on the refrigerator.
I'll tell you how humble I am. I'll tell you how humble I am, Olsen. I'm a Leafs fan. You got to be humble to be a Leafs fan. You know what I mean? But that's all about.
3 strikes.
And hey, the Leaf fan also came from another one of my electronic hobby and things. Through the 80s and early 90s, I was they used to call them the big ugly dishes, the buds. I was a satellite hobbyist, man. I built satellite dishes and like tried to hack through, and I didn't want to pay for cable. So hockey, at the time, ESPN lost the hockey contract to it was called Sports Channel America, and we couldn't get it on our cable where I was at. So I built this dish, and the only thing I could get hockey on was the Anik E1 bird, which was the Canadian bird. So all I could watch was CBC and TSN. And in 88, 89, 90, the only guys that were on TSN and CBC every Saturday night on Hockey Night Canada was the Toronto Maple Leafs. So that made me a fan. You know what I mean? It's like, there you go. It's all the only, that was the only thing I could watch being a hockey guy. So,
Walt, I will have to say, this looks like the roughest place to play ham radio. Like, I don't know how that's going out and
Just missing
I would
a
love to
beer.
go sit on the beach and play radio. That's awesome.
Man, if
That's
that's
awesome.
if that's not the F word, I don't know what is. Right
That's
there.
Shane.
Shane.
Yeah,
Am I
absolutely.
right?
Shane,
Mhm.
Southwest flies to Charleston,
Oh, I know.
and we have a Poda Park that's on the
That's
beach.
matter of fact, hey,
Even
I'm 5
better.
watts right there. That was
Yeah.
5 watts with a ham stick. I was in the Zygu 5150. That was actually it was a contest day too, man. I was burning it up that day. It was a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
Hey, Walt, I got to tell you something. So your drawings, you're an engineer. I am not. Many of us in the world are not engineers. But I mean this very seriously. You and probably that I could think of maybe 3, 4 other guys who I know who are engineers, but who can do a drawing at my level so I can understand it without the E equals MC square and all this other, I want to hear about the picofarad this and the resistor that. You give very, very simple. Here is your dimension. Here is your length. Use it and see how what you have done. I think you have revolutionized how we could look at something at very intellects. It doesn't mean you're smarter than me. Well, you actually are smarter than me, but I don't. Some things in our hobby I just don't understand. I just haven't had the opportunity of somebody who's smarter than me to break it down and make me understand and learn it. But you're pushing stuff out there for us, and you're getting us excited to try new things, especially where we are in the whole solar cycle. When you put out the Slinky antenna, that Slinky design, I immediately went to Amazon and I bought that heavy duty Slinky. And I can't wait to do this. This is just something I think everybody can do. Again, this is not rocket science right here. This
It's
is
common
something that-
sense.
It is. If you just take the time and look at it, and your self-esteem can easily say, I could do this.
Well, thanks. I tell you one thing about the type of engineer I am. I'm what's called a field engineer. So I'm the guy. I'm not so much a theory guy. I mean, I understand the theory, but what I do in work is when we design something and it's getting built, I'm the poor SOB that they send out there to get yelled at by the guys building it. So I understand that how to make this thing like,
Now I know why I hate you.
I'm showing this guy that's working, that's a hard labor guy that's pounding metal. I'm showing him how to build something. And I kind of seriously, I'm not joking around. I try to, and I really want to bring that same thing over to my hobby and do stuff like that. I mean, I love doing those sketches too. I just have fun. I've done it forever. The sad thing is now, and I do it all day long. I sit at a computer and model and do things in the computer with CAD, and that art is kind of dying. and I'm probably the last generation that started in the very early '80s and did things on the board like that. So I still enjoy sketching it. It's funny. My wife will go, "Hey, honey, I want to put a shelf on the in the living room over there on top of that." And I come back an hour later. She goes, "Oh my God, we can publish this." I'm like, "No,
Yeah.
it's just a sketch."
Because
But that's what I do. I just enjoy.
So
Walt,
I'm the guy, and I'm sure there's many of us in the audience. I'm the guy who, when you buy something from IKEA, when the kids were little, all their cribs, I don't need no instructions. I'm going to do it by the picture. I'm going to build it by the picture. And most of the time, the crib never broke down. The kids didn't have to. We didn't ever had to send them to a hospital. It's just a hug and a kiss will do, and ice pack of peas or corn. No, I'm only kidding. But and one time,
Don't worry about it. I make instructions for a living, and I don't freaking read instructions.
Right. But your pictures really give the inspiration, I think, to people like me and many others who say, "Look how simple this is."
Yeah, it's
be.
understanding,
And
it's in pictorial form. It's
right,
it's like a dude's favorite
yes
type of instructions. We don't read stuff; we just look at the pictures.
Right, and whether I'm going to throw 5 watts into it or less, or 100 watts into it, I'm going to make contacts on this thing.
Yeah.
And I can experiment now too with it. I don't have to build it exactly, or if I change something else to my environment, oh my God, I'm making contacts. And so your ears have got to be ringing. So thank you.
And there's people in the chat. I've been highlighted a few of them that have built some of your antennas, and they say they work fantastic. So something's got to be right.
They're not. They're really not my antennas. As an engineer, what I do is I go out and do research for 3, 4, 5 days, and I say, okay, this will work, this won't, whatever, and then I sketch it all up and go, okay, here's the final plans. Let's go build it. And 9 times out of 10 it works. I've had a couple. The Delta Loop. If people watch my video from this weekend where I did that, I built a Delta Loop like a pennant. You know what I mean, and turned it sideways and built a Delta Loop. I will say this about the Delta Loop. I kind of lied when I said this was my first time building a Delta Loop. It was my second time building a Delta Loop.
Oh, you heard it?
Oh, darn.
Father Molson. Father Molson. Give him some. Father
Right?
Molson. You hear that? See?
In the clubhouse, get that. That's inside, information. Right.
I'm going to go put it in the comments of your video. Lies! He said it was December 2.
I built one. I'll tell you the story. I built one in Poland, but I built it flat. So, it was just kind of like a horizontal. And it was, the only contacts I was making were people that were like in Estonia and right next, basically 100 miles from me in Poland. So it was obviously an NVIS antenna. It was just blowing straight up and straight down, burning the clouds. And I was like, yeah, this is cool, but this ain't going to work for me. So I've been thinking about that antenna more and more and more. I said, you know what? If it was so good flat, let's make it vertical and see what happens. Yep.
Yeah, I kind of want to build that.
That thing was amazing, man. I tell you what, I want to go. I want to get in touch with Callum and get the 12-meter pole or something and build one of those for 15, 17.
Here we go. Hold my beer. Molson, did you have some stuff for him?
Oh, I was going to say I learned drafting all by hand. You were saying that before. It's fun.
Yeah.
It is fun.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yep.
And then I really enjoyed it, but now it's all CAD. So.
Yeah.
I want to build this antenna.
Dream in AutoCAD.
Yes.
I want to build that antenna. I wonder
climbing to the
how
top
long
to
it would take.
I didn't draw that one. I found that one online. Stole it.
Slightly
That's really cool, though.
Hey, well, I got to ask you.
Like Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Back in the fall when you went out to Poland and it snowed, you were playing around with some for those who are going through the winter season with snow on the ground and whether it melts away or stays. With your experience, and we're going to preface it by saying this, your experience. Have you noticed the snow having an adverse or Just didn't make a difference whether there was snow on the ground, on top of my radials, or whatever. Anything that you want to comment about that? For especially for the
You
new
know,
people.
it's I've wondered about that, and I experienced that. And that video with the slinky, if you remember, as the snow got higher and higher, it kind of came up over the unknown, and I
Yep.
think it fused it together and screwed up. But I did a video about a year and a half ago here. It snowed here in Virginia, and I went out. I think it was like the day after Christmas or something, and and with 5 watts, and instead of, granted, I was next to the water, so I was within a wavelength of the salt water, but I built the thing, and instead of like I normally do, throw the counterpoise like over by the water or whatever, I was 10 meters away from the water, and I did counterpoise wires in the snow on the ground. And still, this was when the Italian WRTC radio, thing was going on last year or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And with 5 watts, bam, I went right into Italy from here over top of the snow. I think it does have an effect, and I think the effect the snow has is it's not the snow itself. It moistens. If you hit it at the right time, it enriches the soil below it. You know what I mean? Like, you know how when it snows, it gets
Makes it
wet
more
underneath.
conductive.
Yeah, it makes the soil more conductive underneath it.
That
So
makes
yeah,
sense.
I think snow helps. I really do. To me, I think it does, because it just kind of adds a conductivity of all the soil together. You know how people talk about putting out 10, 6, 7, 8 counterpoise wires when the snow hits the ground, and even in rain, if the ground is wet, I'm sure that there's some conductivity, the enrichment of the soil, and I don't know how. I mean, I'd like to know how many Siemens per meters and all that stuff is going on there, but I'm sure it increases with the wetness and the dampness. Now, a frozen ground, I don't know. That snow I experienced in Poland, it came down quick. I mean, it was only 30, 40 degrees, and there wasn't any, I guess, what they call permafrost or anything yet. You know what I mean? Kind of like we have here on the East Coast. The ground was still kind of thawed, so I think that helped.
Steve's got to run right quick. So, Steve, thanks for hopping in. I know you got to go take care of the wife, so we'll catch you on the next one, man.
You guys have a good night.
Brother,
Thank you, buddy.
long, brother.
But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. You guys know Tim, G5TM over. He's kind of my deep theory guy. I usually ask him, I'll go, model this for me, Tim. Tell me what's going on, whatever. He does it. Like I said, I kind of like just wing it and think about what's going on. Just using common sense, like you just said, Don. It makes sense that the snow would enhance the ground for a ground plane, and I think it does.
Well, we used to have a guy here locally back in the 90s. He lived close to the beach, but not that close. He would carry 4 to 5 buckets of salt water. He'd fill them up, throw them in the back of the old pickup truck. And then just prior to operating, he would just drench the soil, drench the radials with the salt water. He swore. Now, again, was it the propagation just to happen to be? I don't know, but something. It made him feel good. He made contacts. He was happy. He was having fun. That's all that counts.
You're going to laugh at this. I had a conversation with when I was over in Poland. We had some special forces guys over there with us, and one of the guys was a comms guy for them. And as soon as I found out he was comms, excuse me, I had to, I had to get going. We're going to talk.
We're going to talk radio.
And I was asking him. He said, when we were out in the desert, during Iraq and Afghanistan and that type of thing, and for HF communications, we would build an antenna and throw down wires for counterpoise. He said what they were used to do is, they knew it was going to be there for a month, 2 months, or whatever. They just go out and urinate on it. You know what I mean? Like into the sand to wetten up the sand. He goes, as gross as that sound, it helped the antenna by adding the moisture on the counterpoise wires, which it sounds kind of crazy, but hey, if it worked, and this guy was basically Jason Bourne. I wasn't going to doubt what he said. You know what I mean? He might kill me.
All right, so listen, and I saw Ape in there talking about peeing on his unknown. You guys want to do that, go for it. I don't want to see no pictures. I don't want to see no memes. I don't want to hear anybody getting arrested. You do what you got to do. That's all I'm going to say, okay?
Sorry to get so graphic there. I was just added to the story though. That's
and if Abe, and just like Scout says, if he has to mark his territory, you mark your territory with your antenna and a little more. So, all right,
yeah.
well, all right, we gotta jump something now here. We've been talking antennas now with you for about 30 minutes. I want to know, what are you using for a radio? Because usually I'm the antenna guy. I care more, but you have me so intrigued. Like, what are you using? What do you like from power to high power to whatever? What do you like to use for a radio when you're out playing?
People that really know me know that I've even been accused of being the head of the G90 Mafia.
Right, but yes, correct. But have you switched? Are you playing with something else too? Go ahead.
Yeah, I do have other radios. As a matter of fact, let's see here. We can. This is my Alinco DX70. I have a 10-Tech Scout 555. That's a 50-watt radio. The 100-watt radio. I have a Yaesu FT747. I have a bunch of different radios, but
What's
really
the big one
portable.
down there?
Yeah, I have
What's
some old stuff too.
What's the big one there?
That's a Hammerland HQ 180 receiver. The coolest thing I have, I just got it. This
Oh wow!
This is from 1942. This is a Scott RB02. This was a ship. This was actually on a ship. This is an entertainment radio. It's a shortwave and medium wave entertainment radio for ship's crew. This thing weighs about 125 pounds. It took me,
oh my God!
Wow.
Don't drop
me
it
and my
off the
son almost had
tailgate,
a stroke. I almost had a stroke getting that up here. I'll tell you why it weighs so much. In the 40s, the Germans had technology to they could find the ship and fix the camera here, and they could see the oscillator inside a receiver. So when they would be looking for ships, like the U-boats, they could detect the oscillator. So this radio has lead all the way around it. So when the oscillator is oscillating inside the receiver, it can't get out of the case and can't be detected.
That's cool.
That's why I like the radio so much. It's really
that's
cool.
Radio. Plus, if you ever get an X-ray, you can just say, "Hey, I'm going to use this radio."
Yeah. But Don, getting back to you, I absolutely love the G90 for a couple reasons. I mean, one, it performs well. 20 watts to me, and I've played with 20 and 10 and 100 a lot between the two of them. I've noticed that 20 watts to 100 watts, it's like one S unit. It really is. It's not a lot. I mean, it really. I think the big jump in a radio is from the 10-watt QRP you're here, the 20 watts you just take off. It is like night and day from 10 to 20 watts. And the cool thing is I took with my I don't have it here, my Zygu, I took those silly slide forward flaps off,
Yep.
to make it small. I throw it in my backpack and travel with it. A little tiny a 6 amp hour LiPo4 battery, which doesn't weigh anything. It's small. It lasts me all day. I put it in the backpack with me when I travel. That little setup, that little 6 amp hour LiPo in that G90, I've worked the world with it. When I'm over in,
that's
awesome. That's all I take to Poland. I got my work schedule. What I do is I work 6 weeks here in the States, and I go to Poland for 6 weeks. And that's kind of going to be the schedule here this year. And, you can't beat it. And what's kind of crazy is every time I make a QSO and I tell somebody, yeah, I'm 20 watts, especially when I'm in Europe, they freak out. Especially the Italians. Whenever I'm making a QSO in Italy, they go, "Oh my God, you're 20 watts." I go, "Yeah, I'm sorry, you're 1,500 watts."
Mamma mia! Mamma mia! Look at Papino! Ole!
Most of the Italians will go, "Yeah, you're 5'9". What are you running? I go, "I'm running 20 watts, and you're only 5'7" with that 15.
1,500, more like 3,000 if it's in Italy. It's a 3 kilowatt station on a 15 element stack beam.
I've always said, I don't know why ICOM, Yaesu, somebody needs to try to compete with the G90. They will. The market's there. They just don't understand that level, that 20 watt level. And the other thing about that radio too is the built-in ATU. I don't know anybody put together ATU like that's the one thing Zygu does right is their damn ATUs are just amazing.
Yeah.
The internal ATUs, they're just freaking awesome.
Because
So yeah,
when I found you, you were using that G90, and and at the time I was like on the fence. Do I go with the 705? Do I do a G90? And obviously, we all choose our radios for different reasons. But now I understand why a lot of 705 guys are buying these 50-watt amplifiers. They want just a little bit more kick, but they don't want to go into that 100 class. They don't want to go 75 plus watts. They want just that little bit of a push. But
that 50-watt amplifier right there, I know what you're talking about. That bad boy right there, right?
Yep. There's that one. Yep. There's a few others out there, and guys really want it. They just want that, just a little bit more breathing room, as well as, hey, listen, today we're only going to go down to 1 watt. I'm going to go play with Walt, and K4OGO, and we're going to freak out. We're going to start off at 5 and work our way down. I love listening to Walt stuff. I have a problem on Friday nights hanging out with him sometimes. But when I do, man, I love it. It's fun to start bringing the power down. And once again, it's all about antenna. It's really all about antenna.
It is.
When you get to that.
It is. Listen, I mean, a lot of it, yeah, you're true. It is antenna more than anything. But sometimes it's conditions. I mean, I worked, I have here, the house, this house I'm in, I'm up on the 3rd floor. It's old. It was built in 1891. It's a kind of a condo HOA type thing, but I'm really cool. The guys that own it said, yeah, you put any antenna you want out back. I have a little fire escape out the back window right here. And I have another antenna that everybody says will not work. I have that Sigma Eurocom HF360. Some people call it the Harvest. I don't know if you've seen it, the Harvest 360 or whatever, the no radial vertical. But what I did with mine is I ran a wire from the base of the antenna to I screwed it right into the metal roof. So I have this like metal ground plane underneath it. But with that, with this little radio here, I worked the Netherlands with 100 milliwatts SSB with that compromised antenna. So, and that was just the conditions that day were just off the chain. I mean, it was just a good day. But.
Now, do you find, so when you're in Europe, and I don't care what band you're on, but let's say you're making contacts throughout Europe and maybe into Asia or, whatever, to the south, into Africa, that continent, whatever. Mm-hmm. Do you find it how, like here for me, when I work anywhere from, let's say, Nova Scotia into Canada, come around to Michigan, go down to Georgia, sometimes Florida, it's easy. It's always fun. It's very consistent. Did you see that? So, and you being here on the East Coast, maybe you work out to the Mississippi a little bit, maybe further on based on band. But now when you get out into Europe, your DX is really your regular contacts. Did you kind of see that? Did it start honing in on you like, oh my God, I'm working France on a regular basis. I'm working the Germans. I'm working the Netherlands like it's
nothing.
Like it's nothing.
I tell you, I mentioned this in a couple of videos. One of the strange things I found out about working in Europe was, I went over there with the mindset. I went over there a year ago. I've been there 4 times now. A year ago when I first went over, I had this mindset that I was going to go there, and in the first 6 weeks I was there, I was going to work every country in Europe. The problem is when you sit there in Europe, everyone's calling CQDX anywhere but Europe. Anywhere but Europe. CQDX. Sitting there in Europe. Oh God, I'm like this guy's in Hungary and I need Hungary, or this guy's in wherever, Switzerland or whatever, and it's like you're sitting there going, damn, you know what I mean? See, but yeah, it is that way.
Like I want to work this from home.
Right. Yeah. But where I'm at in Eastern Europe, one of the problems I have when I'm there, and not to be political, it's not their fault. I mean, the Russian hams just blow me away. If you think the Italians run a lot of power, sit in Poland.
The Russians just hold my vodka.
I hold my vodka. I mean, the Russian guys are just there all day long. So a lot of times I get on and I couldn't get through a pileup. I'd hear a pileup. I'd hear like I'd hear a guy in Africa, South Africa, right, calling the CQ, and I'd come back, and that was the other problem too. That long ass call sign I had to use: Sugar, Papa, Stroke, Kilo, 4, Oscar, Golf, Oscar. By the time I got let off the mic, it was like R5 VK, R3 2. All I'd hear is all these R's, coming over top. These
Right.
guys were running power, man. It was hard. It was hard, but you know what? I got better. At the end of the day, it made me a better operator. I kind of learned how to do it. I would just go golf Oscar, you know what I mean? And then the guy would come back. I got the golf, and I hate doing that. I know everybody says don't do that. You got to freaking.
Hey, you got to
guess
do what
what?
you got to do.
So once again, here we go. People trying to tell you how to operate. Just you operate
Right.
how you want to operate, or how the activator wants to hear it too. So it's also
That's
respect
like
for the
I
operator.
think the world of Callum McCormick. Me and him are friends. We've talked quite a bit about things or whatever. One thing I adamantly disagree with him is he cannot stand it when somebody says QRP at the end of their call sign. He doesn't realize.
I've been doing that. Oh well.
I do that.
When you're sitting there with 5 watts and you're trying to break through a pileup and you finally go QRP and the guy goes, "Oh, what? Hold off, everybody! QRP, QRP." You're like,
The world stops.
I'm just gonna go ahead and admit it. I've done that running 100 watts just because I could not get into the pileup.
Where's Father Molson when you need him?
and you gotta break through the pileup.
I needed that contact bad. Anyway.
All right, so listen, guys, we're coming.
Some rain.
Thank you, Joe Brett. Hey guys,
I like the rainometer you got going on there, Joe.
Thank you.
We're coming up. We're coming up to the top of the hour here. I'm going to suggest something a little different here. So, Shane, help me out. I want the chat to ask Walt some questions. Can they star some stuff?
If you've got questions, just put question in there, and I will try to star as many of them as we can. And then here in about 10 or so minutes, we'll collect some, and then we'll go through them. I just got a text that said it's snowing. I need to open my patio. But usually if you put question in front of it, I can see that because sometimes when the chat gets going, it gets going. But I'll star some comments and we can go from there. Well, so right. Walt, what has been your everyone has that one contact that has either eluded them or they finally got it and they're just like blown away. What was the contact that was just like the contact of all contacts?
The contact of all contacts just happened to me about 2 weeks ago. Dude, I have worked Australia long path from Europe. I've worked Australia 5 watts from where I'm sitting at right now. And you would think that the VK would be the big deal. I could not get South Africa to save my freaking life. I've been trying and trying and trying. And then about 2 weeks ago, it was real early. And I heard a guy with a South African accent go, "Is the frequency clear? Is the frequency clear?" And I'm like, "Oh, I got you.
But get it before pileup does.
You can have my frequency in a minute, but let's work first.
He had off the mic with that ZF, and I went, K4OGO, Kilo 4, Oscar Golf Oscar, Kilowatt 4, Oscar Golf Oscar. Like, if I had it, I wasn't going to let no one take that one from me. But that was, it was, the South Africa was my biggest one. Now, that one is really, that was one I really, really wanted for a lot of reasons, but that was, that just happened to me. So I guess now I got to look a little bit harder. I need an Antarctic expedition now that happens.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
So
well, what about
the two that have eluded me is New Zealand and Australia sideband from Texas. I want to do that, and I want to get Hawaii. Now, I heard Hawaii when I built my dipole that goes across the patio. It's a linear loaded dipole because I have a small patio. I heard Hawaii and I heard the QSO, but I couldn't break into it because anytime he said it's from Hawaii, it's just gone nuts. Right. But I want to, that's the two I've been working. I would love to get the South Africa one on voice. I've got it on FT8, but I don't have it on voice. But New Zealand and Australia and Hawaii would be perfect for me.
Shane, I can tell you how to get New Zealand this Saturday morning. I got you. I'm going to give you some advice. Okay. I've been in ham for 56 years. Let me tell you how it's done. Anyway. No, seriously.
I had to wait for you had to give me your resume first.
I almost dropped my cigar in that one.
I'm going to give you a little how I do it. The only time of day, the only day of the week I can get Australia, and the only time of day I can do it. If you'll get, let's see, you're Central Time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, between 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. on Saturday morning, go to 14240. There's the Southern Cross Net. That all it is Aussies and U.S. guys going back and forth on Saturday.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Oh, there's
you'll jump right
there. We go.
There's
That's
the
how
secret.
That's how you're going to get your VK.
Nice. And I see. It looks like there's another one. So if you have watched Mike at MRD, he does this Technician Tuesday, and twice now on 10 meters, he's gotten Eric in his logbook. So everybody, I'm going to leave this comment up here. You need to put his call sign in your ham alert when you see him up. He's got, it was what, Eric, correct me if I'm wrong. I hope I've got your name right. I pulled you up in QRZ. Yeah, Eric, tell me if I've got it wrong, but it's a dipole and like 20 watts. And he was booming into Texas today.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I tell you a great story about Mike. That I love Mike a lot. Here's the reason why I shouldn't tell him this. He's going to whatever.
No one's listening. No. This is just us right now. This is just us.
So I hit 5,000 subscribers today, right? So I'm kind of
Nice.
Well, congratulations.
but it's taken off. I had about 50 subscribers, and they were out of the 50, 35 of the guys I probably knew. And at the time, I probably had 10, 11 videos up. And all of a sudden, Mike subscribed and commented on my videos. And he said, man, you are killing it. This is awesome. Dude, keep going, man. You're doing a great job. So, Mike, if you're listening, man, you're one of my inspirations. I really appreciate that. I mean, I got a lot of guys that subscribe now. Like I said, Callum and, Jason and all these guys have subscribed to me now. But when I was a peon, like 50 subscriber, nothing, Mike subscribed and encouraged me. So, I think a lot of Mike. I really do.
Now he's going to get the big head.
Mike has been an encouragement to all of us. And my biggest accomplishment with Mike was not saying a hockey shirt; it's a hockey sweater. And once we got past that, it's been great.
All right, I got it added to my ham alert.
All right, so Walt, got to ask you a question here. You know how here in the United States, 40 meters, there's one or two frequencies that guys hang out. They think they own it. Do you see that in Europe a lot? Do you see any of that regardless of where in the band, whether it's, because obviously the Europeans have different band spectrums than us.
Not like the States. It kind of disappointed me on 40 meters because I always go to 7,200 to tune up. And I didn't have that.
You like that, Molson? See, Molson likes that.
See? Oh, you and me both. It's
the
middle of the band,
40
man.
40 was crowded, and I was like, I got nowhere to tune up, man. Like when it's
You just became Molson's best friend.
Yeah, I'm good. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's awesome.
But you don't see that. You don't see that in Europe or anywhere else you go.
No, the one thing that happened to me in Europe a couple times was this summer. Remember when there was so much solar activity and the bands were like just horrible and things were bad. I was
the M1s and G1 were flying. Yeah, were flying.
It was horrible. And I remember one time it was like a Saturday morning, and I was like, man, the bands are dead as hell. And I heard this French guy. He's like F4 or whatever. And he's calling, and he goes, F4 XYZ contest. And I'm thinking to myself, all right, I'm going to give him the old 5001. And so I come back with the Sugar Papa Stroke Kilo 4 Oscar Golf Oscar. And the guy didn't even, I'm like, right off the bat, he just started letting me have it. He goes, this is a Russian. I'm only talking to Russians, only Russians, whatever.
Oh, goodness.
I'm like, wow. Excuse me, why, MFer? You know what I mean? Like,
you could have logged the contact because he acknowledged you.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. That's right, Joe. That's right. A contact is a contact is a contact. No matter how you get it.
You exchanged information.
Yes, we did.
All in all, like I said, it's really a little different. 40 meters, honestly, I've said this before, and I've got a lot of friends in the UK. 40 meters over there to me is better than it is here. Now, granted, like I've been a general for the last few years. For me, for DX, a lot of Americans don't realize this, that we've got 7,200 to 7,300 here, but that's all American. I mean, in Europe, the 40 meter band ends at 7,200. Above that's off limits. So in order for me to try to make a DX contact to Europe, it's got to be between 175 and 200. That's it.
All right, Walt, time out from Molson. Are
Was
we
that a
happy
blizzard?
now? Molson, are we happy now?
It's not a blizzard, but it's ice cream.
There you
Okay.
go.
Well, okay, there you go. But
It's all right.
But he didn't bring 4 others.
Yeah, absolutely.
but-
and I want to say, this is what happens when you watch the Clubhouse. You get insider tips to how to break a pileup into Hawaii. So there's their secret right there.
I'm trying to
Just
call
text
you.
him and tell him I'm trying to call you. You heard it here first.
But the ham alert, hey guys, we said this 1,000 times, and we're going to continue to say that ham alert is. Listen,
It's awesome.
I remember back in the day when the packet cluster would come up, and everyone was like, "Ooh!" Now it's the ham alert. Ooh,
You're
I'm
spotted
serious.
on the cluster.
Yeah, because we all have this newfangled device called a smartphone,
Right.
and boom, and your ham alert is going off. It's great. So, guys, again, put Walt in there. Put everybody in there.
Oh,
who you
absolutely.
want and everything, and you'll have some
But
fun.
you guys know how to get a guaranteed pileup every time you turn on the radio, right?
Yes, we do. Go ahead.
Yes.
Show. Remind us.
We have
Remind
that-
the new people.
You get your license in Hawaii and then move to the mainland and don't change it.
I thought it was the female. I thought it was the recorded button.
No, it was the
where you have
Lion
female.
Hawaiian.
Yeah,
Hawaii.
the line Hawaiian. But the second way is you get a female to record your calling CQ.
Oh, yeah.
Or you just get Daniel to do it. Because apparently it worked.
Daniel will only charge you $5. We have a special rate going, guys, right now.
If you don't know, we got a buddy Bo, who was
I got to get
stationed
Joe
in
Brett
Hawaii.
to talk here a little bit. I got to ask Joe Brett a question here. Joe Brett, you're in Mississippi, right?
Yes, rainy Mississippi.
Yeah. I lived in Mississippi as a kid, but I think I was on the other side of the state. We lived in Pascagoula, Mississippi, down on the Gulf Coast. So
Yeah, I'm up at the north.
yeah, okay. You're kind of close to Memphis, that direction.
Yeah, just about in between Memphis and Tupelo.
Okay, cool. But funny story, Don. When I lived in Mississippi as a kid, went to elementary school there, and then my dad was an engineer. He was a contract engineer. We moved to East Haddam, Connecticut. So can you imagine being a junior high school age kid with a Mississippi accent in Connecticut in 1974, 75? I got so many hillbilly jokes that it was unbelievable. You know what I mean? It was a rough fight.
I get it, because when I was doing a lot of work in Kentucky, right away, I was Yankee boy, but I was their Yankee boy, where if anybody who said, who didn't like me for whatever reason, volleying in your name or whatever, they said, no, it's sort of like being in prison. I was their bitch, but it was cool because it was cool because it was all for fun. Yeah, it was. It was all for fun. It was all for fun. They looked after me because some people just did not like people from the north, and for whatever reason, and it is what it is. And I'm not here to argue about. I mean, I've always said you need to judge me for who I am, my ethics, how I carry myself, and how I treat other people before you want to pass judgment. I understand some people can't, especially when there's a lot of alcohol involved. However, I think through when you find something that we share, whether it's at a young age, it's riding bike and playing baseball. As we get older, and we find rock and roll, we find girls, and all of a sudden we find radio. It gets great. A lot of this stuff gets all pushed aside. All of the negativity of the world gets pushed aside, where we can play radio and have fun.
Right.
And that's what it's all about. Listen, we all know every group has its sad hams. We know that. I think it's sometimes fun to make fun of them, make fun of the sad hams, while not promoting it to make you jump and participate with it,
Right.
but just enough to laugh at it and say, how stupid it is.
I try to be thick. I mean, we all do. Everyone here, we put ourselves out there, for the world to see or whatever. And I try to, in my mind, just be thick-skinned or whatever, and whatever. I'll be honest with you. The last couple of weeks, man, I don't know if it's because I've got more people subscribed or more people looking at my video, whatever. It's just been crazy. You know what I mean? And
It's
another,
fun.
yeah, and getting back to people that I've learned from, I remember first time I went on Coffee and Ham Radios with Abe, and we were kind of off camera talking, and he
I'm
told me
sorry to hear that.
question. I said, "What do you do about
He's
this?"
in the chat.
I'm sorry to hear that.
There goes his ego.
He's
He
really
said-
not our friend. He really isn't. We just let him think he is.
No, but he gave me good advice. I mean, he said like ignore him. He goes, and the best advice he gave me is what I do it now every day. He goes, the first time you get a negative contact, just delete the contact, or what he does, and I like this. Occasionally I'll do it too. Just go, hey, thanks for watching. You know,
I
what I mean?
appreciate
Like,
the watch time. Thanks.
thank you,
Right.
thanks for watching.
Listen,
But I've learned. When I got a video and I've got 700 thumbs up, likes, and 1 down, I've really come to realize now that the guy with the 1 down is the guy with the problem, not me. You know
Exactly,
what I mean?
and that's still the thumbs down is still engagement too. So,
Yeah.
so we got some questions here. Go ahead, Dave.
Oh, I was just gonna say, every time that somebody comments something that gets me down, I just remind myself it could be worse, and I could be a Tennessee police officer. So, you guys get that? No, you don't
okay
get
over
it.
there, Joe?
Nobody
Joe
gets
Brett,
it. Nobody
Joe Brett,
gets
you're right
it.
over there.
Joe
we
gets it.
lost Joe.
You guys really don't get it.
Yeah, so Daniel, you mentioned that. I was going through the
there we go.
TikTok, and
Point counterpoint. Point counterpoint.
this young fella has a poster, a picture of her. Did you see it? Walks into the police department asking, and and when
Hold
the
on.
sergeant or whatever comes out, he raises his hand and says, "I must disclose to you that I have protection." And the cop's like, "What?" Anyway, and I ain't go no further, but yeah, it was kind of funny.
I post. Do you guys, Walt? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't. I'm clueless.
Okay, there was an officer who was suspended with 6 other officers.
Yeah,
fired. Yeah,
with the woman.
Yeah. So I was like, if you're having a bad day, you could always be a Tennessee police officer. So.
Yeah, I got it now. I
Come
right
on.
over.
Man, that fell on deaf ears, man. Scout knows what I'm talking about. Man, I try hard, guys. I try.
All right, so here's the first question from Scout75. Scout asks, will you please talk about your involvement with the USS Wisconsin's radio room?
Sure. I'm a member of the USS Wisconsin Radio Club. We do. It's a museum ship. As a matter of fact, I can look out my living room window and see it. That's how close I live to it. It's right across it's right across the harbor from me. Great club. Most of the guys in that club are either also, they're also in the Chesapeake Amateur Radio Club, which is close by, or the Virginia Beach Club. And it's mostly ex U.S. Navy radiomen. And man, what a wealth of knowledge there. But it's pretty. I mean, I get to go over and learn from those guys. As a matter of fact, those are the guys that are inspiring me to learn CW and learn code. I'm trying to learn that right now because I go in there and watch these guys work, and I'm just like so in awe. You know what I mean? These guys are just like, I mean, they'll sit there and they'll be like in a QSO, and they go, "Hey, Walt, how you doing, man? Where are we going for lunch?" You know what I mean? They're just going
guys
to town.
like that are cool. Yeah, guys like that.
Man,
Are cool.
Crazy, but yeah, it's really cool. It's an honor to be a part of it. I really enjoy being a part of the Wisconsin club, and the shack over there is really cool. I mean, all the stuff we have on it, and I've been a member now for about 1.5 years, and it's awesome.
All right, question number 2. What kind of digital computer sound card setup while you're on the road or when you're out traveling?
The only digital ops I do is when I text with my iPhone. I'm
No FT8.
I'm not a hater. I'm not a hater or any kind of digital mode hater. It's just not my thing. I mean, coming from where I came from, I came from a background of shortwave listening and medium wave listening, and that to me, just to me, I don't want to start anything, but to me, radio was meant for the human voice, man. I just love it. That's what I'm all about.
Well, someone though, Walt, you and I share, and I'm sure many others. It's the naysayers out there who are very small. There's a very Listen, like you, I don't care for FT8. I'm not getting into this winter field day. Should it be used? Can it be used? Guys, you want to use FT8? Start your own winter field day for FT8 or whatever. So pick and choose.
Oh,
but,
now
but,
we've got
but don't.
we have
But
an Izzo
stop
rant.
But
Them not
stop.
fighting words.
Stop.
Right?
Stop this beating. That's right. Stop this beating of your fellow ham operator who's using the ham bands. If he wants to use FT8, let him all day long go.
Right.
He wants to go on YouTube with it. He wants to do a StreamYards with it. He wants to go for it. There's plenty of
done.
It's funny.
Or she. Please,
Well-
you'll get in trouble again.
No. I have been asked this question before, and one time it really pissed me off because somebody in a comment said, "Hey, you'd make better contacts with FT8. Have you ever considered FT8?" And I was, like I said, hey, nothing against FT8. I just, I'm all about voice and SSB. And the guy comes back and goes, "Okay, boomer." I'm like,
God. Just because someone doesn't like doing the same thing that you do doesn't make come on.
nah.
So
I did
it is
FT8
what
for
it
my
is.
house because
I've said
it's
it
easier.
before. I've
It's
said
easier.
it before. Do the guys who collect stamps and coins, do they have these same arguments?
Of
Come on,
course.
God. Do they really?
Of course. They're always going to say, "Why do you collect pennies? Why shouldn't you just collect quarters?" I mean, there's always going to be that guy. There's always going to be an asshole in the group, no matter what the group is.
Right. So
I'm not
don't be
saying
that
yours.
asshole.
I'm just saying, someone's going to be there.
So,
I don't know, man. I tell you, I coming into ham radio. If you'd asked me 3 years ago when I started, if I would run into the kind of people that I've run into, and I tell you, one of the things I've really learned from ham radio is human psychology. Because
Oh yeah,
good point.
I would have never, ever in my life thought that people that had to study hard, pass 1, 2, 3 tests to get to the pinnacle, to do everything they do, would be such gatekeeping, envious, jealous, just up with
jerks.
stacks of crap that I never would have thought. I came in so naive thinking that I was going to just be embraced by these old people that were going to be happy that there was another guy in their club.
Nope.
You know what I mean? You read the Gordon West books and it's like, yeah, these Elmers are here to help you. No, they're not. There's a bunch of
Very good, Jody. Hey, Walt, I'll tell you, my daughter is getting ready to go to college for health service and considering some clinical social work. I've told her, something. You can hang out with us. You can start your practice. You'll have a mansion before I will, and you can take care of dear old dad here. You'll make a ton of money off us.
Hey, Izzo, there you go. Wooden nickels are killing.
Thank you, Scott. Yes. And some guy's going to say, well, my 1913 is better than your 1917. Shut up. And go.
exactly.
Whatever.
And that's like you said earlier when I told you that it drives me now because like when I put something out there and say I'm going to do this and everybody says it won't work, I was like, oh, you watch, bitch.
Hold my beer. Watch this.
Yeah.
All right.
Shane, what else you got?
Next
What else
question.
you got, Shane?
So Mike says, do you have any experience operating by large bodies of fresh water? And if so, what are your thoughts on how it affects propagation?
Ooh,
Is it the
question,
same as saltwater?
I do actually. I do. I go up to Marinette, Wisconsin, which is right on Green Bay, leading out into Lake Michigan. There's a shipyard I work at up there. So I've gone up there and tried to operate kind of the same thing. I actually did a quarter wave vertical on 20 meters, right. Did the whole thing just like I do here with the counterpoise right on the water or whatever. And I might as well have been in dirt, man. It was no different. It's not freshwater. Freshwater is no different than the dirt in the middle of Iowa. It really isn't.
Yep.
It doesn't work. The salt is the magic.
Yep.
Interesting. What else you got for us, Shane?
All right. So last but not least, does anyone know of a good site for loop antennas? I have 42 feet of commercial 2-inch Heliax.
Heliax, yep.
Yep.
Helix.
From CBC French TV tower site.
Just Google 2 inches and French. That's all you need to do.
I'm just curious.
Sorry,
I
don't
know.
Google that. Don't Google that.
I'll let the chat answer that question. Good
Yeah.
sights for a loop antenna.
We need a meme on that one, Molson.
That'd be a hell of a loop with 42 feet. I mean, I don't know. That's a big one.
Are we talking like a magnetic loop or
that's-
like
I think with Helix, they must be making a magnetic loop. I can't. I'll tell you, man. That loop, I have a loop antenna. I'm getting ready to give it to somebody, and that thing, it works well. One time, if you dial it in perfectly, and you got all day in the world to make it work perfect for you. But if you're out there like wanting to go bam, 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 and DX and make contacts, and there's probably somebody in the chat that just loves their loop, and good for you. I'm glad for you. But you know what? I've done 3 videos using a mag loop, and there probably will never be a 4th.
Interesting.
Simple as that.
Interesting. Well, what do you want to do next? I know that's a kind of within the hobby, or maybe something outside of the hobby, or totally different that you want to do.
No, I want to. I want to keep rolling and until I exhaust how many different antennas I can use, and then probably loop back around. And no pun intended with loop, but anyway, come back around and try them again.
I have a question when you're done there.
Yeah, but the sketches that you're having, maybe a year from now, if I have 200 of those sketches together, I might put them together in a book or something and do something like that.
Oh, that would be cool.
Because I know I
personally Coastal Waves and Wires antenna handbook.
Because
you don't need the ARRL antenna handbook. Just get Walt's.
Right, because I already started a folder up in my cloud of Walt's antenna designs. The folder's labeled because this is stuff. Especially when it starts getting warmer out, and for us.
Yeah.
For those wanting to know where I was getting those from, that's from Walt's Instagram. So Coastal Waves and Wires on Instagram, he uploads those drawings, and I'm sure you do a video or something on each one of those as well.
Yeah, most of them. Maybe 1 or 2.
Isn't it amazing? I just thought of it. Back when I was 12, 13. Here I am saving Playboy pictures. Now what am I saving? Antenna pictures. Antenna pictures.
Antenna porn.
Man, have I
Exactly.
I matured. I have matured and I have grown.
That's fun. But I hate to say this because I don't want to offend anybody or whatever, but you see a lot of people out there.
It's the Clubhouse.
I'll say it here. Molson, listen, you haven't gone to Molson's bar yet.
Yeah, you see guys doing like 2 or 3 videos a week, and they're trying to, and I understand they're monetizing. And some of these people, that's their half of their bread and butter, what they're doing, or whatever. I personally, I hope I can keep finding a way to just put 1 video or so out a week of what I'm doing. I have a few videos that look like review videos, but they're really not. They're just a new radio I bought, and I wanted to try it out. And I even say one of mine, hey, if you want to, and actually a lot of times I'll put it in the link. If you want to see a really detailed review on this, go to so-and-so's, YouTube channel. He's got a great review on it. All I'm going to do is use this thing. Let's see how it works. You know what I mean? That's kind of the extent of my review.
A lot of the times people don't want to just see you opening a box and telling them everything they can read on the internet. They want to see you open the box, put the radio out on the table, and work contacts with it. See how it operates. And then give them your opinion of how you feel working the radio.
Show us how you
was the
set it
menu
up.
system like Yaesu, and it sucks. The radio's great, but the menu system sucks, that way.
Yeah. Yeah, but I kind of hope I can stay down that road, just keep going with, experimenting. That's what I did the channel, why I started the channel for. Anyway. Learning, what I'm learning.
For those on the podcast, Scout says 1.5 hours into the Clubhouse, and he's worried about offending people. What a nice guy.
Right. Subscribe to his channel. Well,
links to Walt's channel is down below us in the description as well. So I know it's probably been shared in the chat, but I just want to make sure, especially for those on the podcast, links to Walt's channel is down in the description under our guest link. So make sure you subscribe to Walt's channel. It's fantastic. I'll be right back.
And Walt, you said you were on Coffee and Ham Radio. So those, again, I was kidding about 8 before. Those are a great group of guys. You got Jason out there, you got Josh, you got Mike. You got Kyle, everybody. And I'm sure you know who we're talking about. There's a lot of great channels where everybody can start sharing stuff, and we're only going to be. I think the more exposure that we get from guys like you, Mike, Jason, Kyle, Coffee and Ham Radio guys, the more we build our enthusiasm and our consciousness of saying, I can do this. Even if I don't build the
Right.
whole thing, or maybe, if I'm not going to build it for 40 meters, but maybe I'll build it for 20 or maybe for 10, especially 10 right now, which is exploding. 12, 10, 12, 15, 18. It's crazy and it's great. So, have fun with it. Go for it.
It is, and I get a lot of guys that ask me questions. I mean, I don't know if they realize. I'm kind of flattered because they'll start asking me some pretty good questions, and I like to always answer. I mean, like you said, I've only been a ham for coming up like 3 years, and I usually just tell them it is my understanding, or from what I've learned, this is what I see or what I do it. I can't stand it when I see a person goes, like we said earlier, you must do it this way. You got to do it that way.
this way.
Yeah, and,
Well,
and there's a lot of
I think
for that.
I think we've all seen that, and it's sad, but it happens to a lot of our local clubs where you get the group, the dinosaurs, and I don't mind learning from dinosaurs. Don't get me wrong. Don't, nobody, please don't misunderstand what I'm saying. But when they somewhere down the line where this is how you have to do it. But we have seen now especially since this YouTube explosion of ham radio within our hobby here in social media, we're seeing there are many ways of doing it. And I don't want to call the old guy wrong. I'm not going to go down there with this whole vengeance thing. I'm not. I believe in karma. But I may think it. And it's fun when you get out in the field and you say, something, that guy was not correct. I don't want to call him wrong. I'm going to be nice. I'm going to take the high road. He wasn't correct. Because look at my log. Look at the log. Look at my hammer's log.
I'll take the load for you. No, that Delta loop that I just did this past weekend. The week, Izzo, we're friends on other social media. If you see me, I haven't been like pissed off or whatever. I posted that thing up, the sketch that I did, and I had some guy following me from like site to site, just hammering me. It was a Norwegian guy, a guy from Norway, and he's like, "You're wrong. It won't work. You don't need the 4-to-1. You don't need da 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 da." He just wouldn't leave me alone. Finally I said, "Okay, yeah, okay, cool," and then he would just keep going. So I actually deleted posts to get rid of the guy. He was like just like creeping me. It was pissing me off. So when I got out there, I tell you what, the most satisfying thing is I got that thing built, screwed in the coax, did the little intro of the video, went over there and hit the SWR button. And when that thing was just flatlining across that perfect SWR, I wanted to look at the camera and go, "See, son of a bitch!" It's like,
Take that, sucker.
You could be our Cartman. Go ahead, Molson.
Well, you're an engineer, right? And I think the biggest thing that people forget is that even when you are a professional, you always go back and verify and vet, and you can't retain every little detail. Like no. I mean, like it's impossible. Every formula, and there's like this persona that people put on, like they can remember. You can remember a lot of information and the general idea, but at the end of the day, I've been in doing what I do, and I'm sure you've been doing what you do long enough that you can't bullshit us. And nobody can remember every detail. And the idea, so there's a problem. You have the two extremes. You have the people who don't verify anything, right? Right. And then you have it's both extremes are the same. Like they just don't verify, and they just rely on their own mental capacity. And it's not to speak less of anybody. Nobody can remember every detail. That's why doctors have to go back to their books. That's why engineers have their books. That's why the people in my industry have their books. Everybody does.
Physicians.
Because if you rely on this, you're doomed to fail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what?
Sometimes after the doctor comes and sees you, it's not. He goes back to his office and looks shit up. It's not
what takes 45 minutes.
It's what takes 45 minutes.
He goes to Google.
I never heard of that. I never heard of that
before. He goes to
Google
something that he really didn't want to come up, and he's very intrigued by it. It's like, oh shit, I got a customer in waiting in room 4.
That's the funniest thing about that.
From my work, from career, is modeling. There's too many people that will take an antenna model and think it's the gospel according to all gospel. It is really, it's method of moments. And if you understand method of moments from an engineering standpoint and whatever, it's just theory. You don't know. I mean, we build ships in the company I work for in engineering, and we build and model a ship, the form of a hull, to see how fast it'll go through the water. And we have the same thing as you do with antenna modeling, and it'll say, okay, this ship with this much power will do 30 knots. But you know what? After that ship's built, we go out on trials and crank it to 30 knots, and the damn thing's doing 28 knots, or it's 28 or 27 knots. It's not doing 30, or it's doing 35 knots. It's hauling butt because listen, models are great. They get you in the ballpark, is what I try to tell people.
Then you got to
That's
test
why,
it.
kind of why. Yeah, that's kind of why I do these sketches instead of going in and modeling. Now, no disrespect to guys that do these models and show them on on their channels or whatever. Yeah, they're I like to say they're probably 85 to 95% correct, but there's always that outlying factor. I mean, just like medicine is not an exact science. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's things that can happen. And that's
Well,
that's
I got to bring this up.
A lot of people forget ground conductivity. Like in Texas, there's a map out there that shows you how conductive the ground should be. Texas soil has some of the best conductivity out there. And if we were to go somewhere, take my antenna and go to somewhere else, it may not work as well unless we make some adjustments because your ground may not work as good. Your ground isn't as good as mine. Right. So get to the ballpark, at least get to the ballpark, and then we'll figure out what base you're on afterwards, after we do a little testing and configuring. Sorry to interrupt you.
Get out there and take a piss on the radios and let's get going, man. No, okay.
Not while you're transmitting.
All right. So seriously, not while you're transmitting. So seriously, I want to bring this up because you recently posted an antenna, and I'm gonna, before we get into it, I want to just give everybody a little history. And this happened to me, and I was very offended by it when but I grew a thick skin very quickly. There was a guy by the name of Louis Varney. You know what his call sign was? G5RV. And he designed a 20-meter a flat top. It wasn't meant to do 40, 80, 160 or any other bands. He did it on 20 based upon a certain length of wire. Some guy, I believe it was 450 ohm, or maybe it was 30 ohm wire, whatever. Guy started changing it around. That's fine. That's great. And the biggest thing was they don't work. Bullshit. That antenna does work. When you put that thing on 20 meters and get it up to a certain height, it works based upon the propagation of the day. Walt comes along 30 years later, 40 years later here, and I see this pop up on my social media, and Walt wants to take this antenna, and look what he's doing with the ladder line. And I'm like, this is fantastic. This is about having fun and experimenting in the hobby. And this is no disrespect to Louis Varney, who is now a silent key, but the man experimented. I'm sure he had his naysayers back in the day. I had my naysayers, and I proved that my antenna worked based on Louis Varney's design. Okay, with a few tweaks. But Walt, congratulations on this. I would love to hear, down the line, or if you could tell us now, how effective has this antenna been for you yet? Have you taken this out in the field yet?
If you see there in the sketch, this is one of, if you guys are familiar with Tim N9 SAB, this is one of the antennas he sells. I got it from him, and I'm going to, this Sunday morning, I'm going to get up with my DX Commander pole, this is kind of what got me in trouble before. I put my idea out there before trying it, but,
and the naysayers came out, right?
Yeah, well, no, what I did this time, that's why I created my own Facebook page, so I didn't have to post anything to groups anymore. You want to see it, you come to my page. That way, if you got a negative thing, just delete the comment right away.
That's right.
But, there you go.
I
am the captain now.
Yeah,
I am the captain.
So I'm going to, the antenna, I put this up today. This is the antenna I'm going to put up. Saturday morning, I'm going for my extra test, so I can't do it Saturday. And then Sunday, I'm going to get up Sunday morning and put this thing up Sunday, early mid-morning Sunday, and see how it works.
So Ken says his micro G5RV works very well.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Not in the world would I ever think, not in the world would I ever think something like this would work. But why not? Why not?
Yep.
You know,
I'm going to find out. That's what I'm all about. If it doesn't work, I'll say, hey, you know what? It doesn't. I mean, there's a couple videos I got in there. I was like, yeah, this thing wasn't as great as I thought it would be, but we'll see how it goes. I got a really good suspicion this is going to work well. Just fact of my location too. I mean, that's another thing I get a lot of. Yeah, it works good for you because you're next to salt water, but that's why I call the page Coastal Waves and Wires. There, you know,
Right.
Yeah.
Eric has a good point there. He says if you have to go out there and test it before posting it. If it works, post it. If it doesn't work, delete everything, deny it all. I like that.
I posted it as a challenge. It keeps me going. You know what I mean? Like, okay, here we go. This is what I'm going to do.
It was interesting that the challenge, Callum put out that challenge to build the vertical antenna out of scrap. And I don't know if anyone's watched some of those videos. I watch a lot of. I don't watch a lot of YouTube when it happens or when it's posted. It's usually days later when I'm commuting to work or something. And that's been the first couple of times I've watched that was commuting to work, and seeing some of the things that people came up with was really cool. But just putting it out there as a challenge to people, say, hey, don't buy anything, build it out of scrap, and let's see test it, write it up, tell us how it worked, and go from there. Everybody wants to buy something off the shelf. Nobody wants to build anything or try anything. And if you don't know how to build anything or try anything, that's great, because you have some people like this guy who's posting really good content about how to test things and how to try things.
right? Yeah, good point.
There's this interesting, or on one side you can complain that people aren't like taking up the hobby and learning it like they used to in the old days. And then meanwhile, a guy who's, I'm not saying you all, but say I was to post something on Facebook with some stupid idea that's probably never going to work because somebody knows what they're talking about. But the idea that somebody is trying and they're going to fail, they're going to learn, and they're going to improve it. Right. And the fact that so many people discourage that, you know what I mean? Like, just say, I know the answers, here you go. Don't do it that way. It's like you're defeating the purpose. Like, people need to try, people need to fail. That's something we forgot. And we, like, everybody praises Oprah Winfrey because she failed 50 times, but somebody else fails that you don't like and you criticize them. Like,
right.
Oh, it's true, right? Like,
yeah,
like the rags to riches story is very it depends on who it's for, right? But like the reality is that we have to try, we have to fail, and we celebrate people's successes, and we encourage them when they fail. And
my grandfather used to say, the only time you fail, Molson, is if it kills you. I swear to God, that's why he said, this is why when we're going to put this wire up, we're going to stay away from the hazards of electrical wires. We're not going to, again, other than that, you're still going to be learning something. And I remember building my first G5 RV. It was such fun to learn something. And the old man teaching me, of course, he had his way of teaching. But when you got around the rough edges a little bit, man, it made sense. It makes sense now. Here I am at 58. It's making sense now of what he was talking about.
Right.
I was on a construction site yesterday, and
build a kit.
Somebody else had a mandate, and I was walking by, and I was with the architect, the engineer, and everybody. I said, it's none of my business, but just to let you know, that's an issue, right? And they're like, well, why? And explain it to them. Somebody else's mandate. And they say, well, how did you know that? And I was like, because I messed up before too, right? Like, and I saved them probably a lawsuit from somebody getting injured.
Yep.
But like, we all make a lot of mistakes, and so we need to encourage people. We need to enable them and encourage them, and that's it. So,
well, I mean, we're hams. We're supposed to experiment. So don't be afraid to experiment. And don't let somebody telling you that one way of doing things is the gospel, because it's not. There's multiple ways to do things. Not their way is not the correct way to do it or the only way to do it. It's a way that works for them. So find out what works for you.
My 80-meter loop at only 20 feet in the air is supposed to only burn the clouds, but somehow I contact Australia and New Zealand and all these other countries. Just
and my end fed halfway was a piece of crap that I managed to reach every point of the globe. So,
yeah, go figure, right? Exactly, Molson. Exactly. Yeah.
And congratulations, Shane, for being a member for 1 month on the Ham Radio Clubhouse.
I was just about to say, those of you that are members of the Clubhouse, there is you get one, when you come up on a milestone, you can send a chat. So make sure, if you see that icon flashing down there, to push that so that we can recognize you for your achievements.
I always wondered how that worked. Thanks, Shane.
Thank you.
I do my best.
Hey, Walt, I got a question for you. What's your favorite band?
All right, rock band. That's a tough one.
I'm not going to answer that for you. We're not going to play a question for a question.
All right. I guess if I had to say my all-time favorite band, it would probably be Pink Floyd.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, but I'm kind of a, I like all music. I play guitar. I'm into music. So I kind of have different eras of classic rock and into new wave or whatever. I kind of got a band from each era. For me to say Pink Floyd, this is going to blow your mind. On the other side of that, the runner-up, or maybe even my other favorite band is NXS. I just love that band from the 80s.
Okay, from the 80s. Yeah. David Crosby.
I'm a big NXS.
David Crosby, CSN. What do you think?
Yeah, I was. Matter of fact, I was listening to CSN today at work. I had with the headphones on. I like that too. I like my wife was a musician when I married her. My son's a musician. He's in a band and he majored in music in college. So we're kind of a musical household here. So we've always listened to a lot of different stuff all over from one end of the spectrum. It's kind of hard to just say a favorite band, but. Yeah, it'd probably be Floyd overall. If I had to pick one, it would be Pink Floyd.
Now, what about ham bands?
Most people say 20 meters.
Yeah. And now, okay. And then what about ham? If you wanted to go play.
That was because I've seen this show before. You know what I
mean? You got to upgrade those jokes once in a while.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, no experimenting. You just want to go play radio. No, I don't want to. I just want to go play some radio. What's in your mind? 20 meters?
20 meters. 20 meters, because from the bottom of the cycle to the top of the cycle, 20 meters never goes away, baby. It's always there.
That's true.
I came in somewhat. We were just coming out of the solar, out of the minimum. When I started as a ham, and there'd be days where the only thing I could work was 20 meters. Everything else, 10 meters. A year ago, 10 meters was like, forget it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Think about it. It was tough.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah. One band, it would definitely be 20 meters. Right. If you look, most of my videos, just about, I would say 70%, 75% of my videos are all on a 20-meter band.
Right. Well, steak, chicken, or fish?
Fish.
What kind of fish?
It is coastal waves and wires.
What kind of fish?
Yeah. No, I like ahi tuna, that type of. I like salmon. I had salmon today, as a matter of fact. I eat a lot of fish. There's right across the street from where I live at, where you see me out portable. At the end of the marina, there is a restaurant called Fish and Slips. I probably eat there 3 times a week. It's an amazing place. Nice. So it's all fresh, local seafood. I eat a lot of seafood.
Cool.
I love fresh caught local seafood.
What kind of snacks? Are you a snack? Are you a snack munchy kind of a guy?
A little bit. I'm a salty guy. I like crackers, cheese and crackers, kind of salty type snacks. That's me.
Beef jerky?
Nah, I don't dislike it. I just don't eat a lot of it. But if it's there,
maybe we need to do fish jerky. I might get him interested in it.
That'll sound too
good.
Fish
tacos. All right. Hey, I want to go back for a minute. You said you play guitar, rhythm, lead. What do you like? Folk guitar? What do you like?
I'm more of a rhythm guy. And here, I'll show you one of my favorite guitars. I think Mike's still in the air. This is a Dave Grohl Gibson.
Oh, nice.
My nicest guitar. It's awesome.
Nice.
The reason why someday we're going to have to do the Ham Radio Clubhouse band. So you play guitar, Molson plays guitar. My buddy Jeff is
Callum plays the drums.
My buddy Jeff does bass. We had him on here. We just got to get a cool chick who can do lead singing. I think I have one for us.
Or we just sit around and have a jam session and we don't have to worry about a vocalist.
Me, I don't know. Maybe I'll just smoke my cigar and play the bongos. I don't know. Someone we'll get a cute girl who can just do the triangle or the tambourine or whatever. But we got to make this happen sometime. And I'm thinking we got to get a brass section going. I want a trombone, I want a sax, and I want a trumpet. So if any guys out there who play any brass, let me know.
Cool. I'm a rhythm guy. definitely an early guy.
Nice. So also shout out W5IPA Jason and Ed AC3 India Kilo Sweeney 1 month members for the channel. Thank you guys. I just saw those.
Thank you guys. Excellent.
So I just saw a news report that the a Montreal scientists and scientists from India received a radio signal from outer space that is 8.8 billion light years away. That's where it came from.
Hey, Mike,
Nice.
Mike, if you're in the Mike, you're in the chat. Mike would have given him a 1-1, a 1-by-1.
You're 1-1 from Jupiter.
Mike
Yeah.
goes, yeah, come back. You're a 1-by-1 there, Jupiter. I watched some guy giving him the gears today, man. I was like,
Yeah, here it says researchers from Montreal, India detect radio signal from galaxy 8.8 billion light years away. And they're saying that it is in a specific radio wavelength known as the 21 centimeter line, which is created by hydrogen, providing them with unique glimpses of the early universe.
I wonder if
What
it's
mode?
QRP.
Was it done? How were they detecting it?
Was it
What mode?
FT8?
Oh my God! Please don't say FT8.
You really think that the news agency is going to start talking about front ends and
Right.
APUs?
The OVF light.
Only us hams will do that shit.
Did you have the preamp on? Did you have the
it came up with it was a little bit of a sporadic there.
That antenna would never work for that. What are you talking about?
Yes.
Ryan, Kilo 6 Romeo, Charlie Mike, thanks for the 1 year or the 1 month. So appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you. Well, man, isn't it amazing how fast 2 hours goes?
Yeah, and we've got a hard stop tonight, so unfortunately we can't run over because 2 of us have to be up at 4 a.m. to go to work. So
Sucks to be you.
you're my number one favorite buddy there, Molson.
You know, every time I see like a little Southwest Airlines meme or thing, I always share it with you. I'm like, hey, Shane's at work again.
I try my best to stay out of the news and I'm at work.
You know what's funny? Because like around 9 o'clock in the morning, my time, sometimes I'll think about us. I'm like, is Molson in a suit and tie? Did he just shave? Does he smell, with his Old Spice? No, he's not walking. He didn't go into
like a armed cow.
No, he did not go in the office like that. I'm telling you, he put on his
I woke up this morning. My wife and I woke up this morning to getting a phone call at 6:30 in the morning from an architect, like blasting me. What are you talking about? And then that's how my morning started. That's how most of my mornings start. Yeah, 6:30 getting phone calls. So
well,
it's
I'll
fun
call you
stuff.
tomorrow at 7. I'll just give you a 7 o'clock, not 6:30. But
actually, I'm gonna buy another cell phone because I need to shut this one off when I come home. Yeah, it's time to start shutting the phone off and saying screw the world.
I do that quite a bit. Did y'all hear my phone dinging?
Yeah.
I was looking over for my iPad.
I just got some super top secret photographs. K8MRD is becoming quite the modeler, and he is creating something that will be out shortly on one of my favorite antennas. That's as far as I'm going with it. I'm not giving it away. But I'm just going to say this is Izzo. It's gonna be awesome, and I hope he sends me one because I want to test it.
Listen, you can't do that. You can't bring Mike. This is the Clubhouse show, okay? And we are a unit. We're tighter than a marriage. Yes, we don't keep secrets from each other. So
I can't announce it publicly.
Okay,
but
fine.
no one's listening.
I will tell you guys
it's
off
only
the
us.
air.
Here, I'll turn the rain on. Now nobody else can hear. Go ahead.
It's a super secret project. I won't say it on the air. Not until
We'll make you slip
he's,
one day.
he's made me sign the non-disclosure and all this kind of stuff. He don't want nobody copying his stuff before he gets it out for the public.
All right. Hey, I got a question for Walt. This is something that no other guest has been hit with. You ready?
Yeah.
Walt, if money was not the option, that can be either $1,000 or we'll say $1 million. What vehicle would you drive? Your everyday vehicle. What would you love to say? You know something? I want to get in this every day.
I'm showing it on screen.
Is he showing it?
Shane.
That kind of looked like that cat toy, but in blue.
A car I actually want, and I'm
car, truck, whatever. Yeah.
So there's a car I want, and I'm hopefully might get one in the next year or two. I'd like to have a Porsche Cayman.
There you go.
I had a Boxster. I just got rid of my Boxster a couple years ago, a little over a year ago, and I love that car. But it was it was my everyday driver, and I was getting to the point where it's like I'm putting the kind of wear and tear on this nice car that I don't need to do it. So, and I just wanted to have one car, so I got rid of it and just got me an everyday beater to drive around it. But yeah, it would be the Cayman.
Buy it in Canada.
I just realized I got a Porsche T-shirt. Oh, there you go.
Oh,
you buy it in Canada. You buy a used one in Canada. It's going to cost you 35% less.
There you go. Yeah, that would be
Molson's house. You can go up to Molson's house, hang out. You know?
I tell you something I really
cows.
I've been thinking about getting old first generation RAV4, like the very first Toyota RAV4 that came out, because they're pretty good in the sand. I've been thinking about going out and finding one of those, putting just a little bit of lift and some spongy tires on it, and let it be the Coastal Waves and Wire, beach patrol. I'll put
that'd be awesome.
Like those guys just ride down the road with like 15 antennas on top of you. I'll be that old guy, riding down the road.
That'd be awesome.
I love the picture that you posted of the Chevy Z. Was it the Z71? And you did the equation. That was funny. Yeah. That was very funny, man. That was good. That was.
You need a Unimog.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? There was a Russian car that you guys could get in Canada, but we couldn't get here, called the Lada Niva. You remember those? The little tiny SUVs. Yeah. Something like that would be, or like a Geo. That was made by Suzuki, but it was a little Geo Tracker. The little Geo Tracker. I want a cheap piece of crap that I can just go dog out on the beach. It's 4-wheel drive.
It's called a Yugo. It's called a Yugo, man. Get yourself a Yugo.
Yeah, I don't think the Yugo would get through the sand, though. You know what I mean? The Tracker would. I want something I can drive out
5-speed.
I got an H1 you can buy.
There you go.
He'll get through the sand.
That's okay.
That would get through the sand.
We're probably gonna put gas.
Listen, it only has a few deer hits on it, but other than that, it goes through snow and sand and mud.
Yeah,
but
didn't the Geo Tracker get pulled because it kept tipping over?
That's
that 3-wheel car that Mr. Bean drove. That kept on getting
that
over.
That was the Samurai, the Suzuki Samurai, I think. Matter of fact, did y'all
ever watch Top Gear?
Did you watch what?
Top Gear.
No. Yeah,
it was a UK based
right
show about cars. There's an episode about a 3-wheel vehicle that Jeremy Clarkson drove, and that's probably quite the funniest episode I've ever watched, because every time he goes around a corner, he ends up rolling the thing and landing on its top. So I'll need to go find that episode and post it. But that was awesome.
Do you guys remember the Pontiac Fiero?
Oh yeah. They used to turn those into like Lamborghinis. Like there was a body, you could put a body on top of it that looked like a Lamborghini, only it was like really short.
So
I had the market equivalent. The car that Fiero was going after was the Toyota MR2. I had a first generation Toyota MR2. It was a mid-engine car like the Fiero. They came out around the same time. That was a great little car, man. Yeah, I had one. I had the very first one, the little squared off 80s looking pointy ones.
I had a MR2 Spider.
Gosh, yeah, cool car.
That's a really cool car. It was a lot of fun.
Did you guys put at least put a CB in it or something? I mean, come on. Did you at least put a radio in there?
No, but I tell you what, I drive a little Kia now. It's like 6-speed manual Kia because I drive where I live here in Portsmouth. I work up in Newport News, so it's about a 45-minute drive every morning. And the reason I bought this car because I read this research on it. The AM radio in them, the receptions it's amazing. So I drive in the dark every morning and just like tune in Cuba on AM radio all the way to work. Just I really do. It's kind of
Excellent.
cool.
Excellent.
Keeps me busy in the morning while I'm driving.
Well, speaking of one of the guys who talks about, Brian was talking about the top band. Anything on 80, 160? Have you done anything? You know,
the only thing I've done on 80, I've worked 80. I've never worked 80 here in the States. I've worked 80 in Europe. When I was in Europe, I did a 40 meter infed half wave. Whenever I put them up in Europe, I just go over to 80 to see if they work, and they do. There's another antenna that's not supposed to work on that band, and I would make from where I was at in northern Poland, I was making a lot of contacts into Slovakia and the Czech Republic and that type of
short hop, yeah. There you go. That's it.
But yeah,
that's it.
It's the Reliant Robin.
Yep.
There you go. Cool.
Just have to get out and push it over and keep on going.
The episode was great.
Don, honestly, when we were talking about bands and you just asked about 80 or whatever, and we talked about 40 early, I am a 20, 17, 15, 12, and 10 guy. That's pretty much where I live. You know, those are my bands. I don't do a whole lot of 40. I will sometimes, but I'm a daytime 40 guy.
See, I miss 40 has changed now, but that's all right. I'll just, again, we will adapt. We'll have fun on the band, but I really, really like 40. But 17, I've said it a million times. I was taught, again, by the dinosaurs, and this is one of the things I do agree with, that 17 is truly a gentleman's band. Have you found that also to be? Even 15, and it's 12. Guys are just really, really nice.
I'll probably enjoy 40 after this weekend when I can go below 7175, get down in the road 40 meters.
There you go. Well, we are
pressure on myself. I got to go past that test Saturday morning,
you'll get it. I have faith in you, buddy. We are a couple minutes out, and Izzo and I have to dash out of here at the top of the hour. So we're gonna start going around the horn, say our howdy doodies, and usually takes us 20 minutes to do that anyway. So if Molson, if you want to start anything coming up, any questions for Walt while we got him here?
Oh no, I'm busy apartment shopping in Louisville, Texas right now.
Oh, okay. Well, it's snowing here, so make sure you bring those tires with the snowflake on them.
That's right.
Yeah. Make sure to bring those to Texas with you, because it snows like once every 3 years.
I didn't realize that the address that Joe put in our private chat was where you live. So I'm like, is utilities included, Shane?
Unfortunately not.
I got nothing to say. I really appreciate everybody being here. Always a blast. Have a great week, guys. That's it.
Thank you, Daniel. Walt, man, thanks for being here tonight. It's been a fantastic show, and these 2 hours have flown by. Mm-hmm. So we want to say thanks for coming and joining us tonight. The chat has enjoyed your company. What do you got coming up next? And I know everyone's going to put your call sign, which is on the screen. Put that in your ham alert so you can catch Walt on the air. Also, his YouTube channel is linked down below. Start from the beginning and just watch all of them because they're all good.
Yeah, play them all.
Yeah, just play them all.
Yeah. Hey guys, Sunday I'm going to do that G5 RV vertical this Sunday. I'll probably have video up Monday-ish. Something that usually takes me about a day to edit video. So if you don't see the video, you know it was a fail. Anyway,
deny everything.
No, you didn't fail. You didn't fail. You experimented.
That's coming up Sunday. I only have a couple weeks left, and I'm going back to Poland. I go back to Poland February the 13th. That's a Monday. I'll be there for 6 weeks. I've got quite a few antennas already in the box ready to go that I'm going to do. I'll do like I did when I'm over there before. I'll do one antenna a week. This time, as I plan on being an extra when I'm there, I'm going over to Germany. I'm going to operate from Germany. I'm taking a coil and a whip, and I'm going to do some, maybe some live streams. I did my first live stream last week and enjoyed that. So what I'm thinking about when I'm in Poland, I might drive up to the Baltic there and be live from the Baltic in Poland. And then maybe the next weekend drive over to Germany on the Baltic, do be DL stroke K4OGO from that and do that type of thing. That's kind of what I got planned for pulling. But guys, I want to thank you so much for having me on here, man. This was a freaking blast. I love it. Don, man, thank you for reaching out to me. I really appreciate it, buddy.
Listen,
Awesome.
man.
Hope to get back sometime because I really enjoyed this. You're right. This 2 hours went by fast. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it.
You bet, Walt. Joe Brett, I see you're peaking the decibel meter.
Yes, it's still raining in Mississippi. There's your weather report for the Southeast. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to listen to it rain and go watch some more YouTube and think about videos I could do and then forget all about them and do it all again Tuesday
because
night.
It's raining.
That's right. Back to you, Shane.
All right. Well, if the weather warms up, hopefully I've got some another balloon flight coming up. We're trying to get that license knocked out by this summer. So fingers crossed. I'd love to get that commercial license done by the summertime. I've got one more antenna reviewed. Actually, two. The Zygu VG4 showed up, so I've got that. We're going to take that over to Jason's place at the deer lease so that we're going to put that up over there. The coil antenna that I couldn't get to tune, that I finally got to tune, I think y'all are really going to like that, especially if you do POTA. It's great for, it'll do 80 and 40, but it's going to really sing for you 20 all the way through 6. So that's all I've got coming up. There's going to be a video probably in the next day or two announcing a giveaway because we hit 2,000 subscribers on the channel, so I appreciate that. That's all I got. Over to you, Izzo.
All right, guys, I'm going to tie the ribbons on this thing. I want to thank everybody for their continued support of me personally. Some of the things that we've been going through, we're working through some good things. Everything has been positive. Had fun in Rhode Island. Rhode Island, once again, you guys in Rhode Island, the hospitality in Rhode Island. If anybody has the opportunity, Rhode Island, I believe, has 52 parks. They're all fun. I think I got about 5 or 6 of them work. Some of them are duplicates. I love going back. It's a fun time, whether you're doing POTA or you just want to get on there. It doesn't make a difference. Bring any antenna that you want, whether you want to operate QRP, high power, it doesn't make a difference. This weekend coming up, I will be doing Winter Field Day along with many other hams. I haven't decided whether I'm going to be inside the shack or if I'm going to be outside here. I may even take this thing and move it out even further so I could change my classification, but it doesn't make a difference because what are we going to do? We're going to have fun. So look for me calling out CQ Winter Field Day here from Connecticut. So,
hey,
Walt,
if anybody watching is within a 2-hour distance of, let's say, Malone or Messina, New York, and is doing something for Winter Field Day, hit me up, and maybe I'll take a couple-hour drive south.
Wow, look at that. There you go. That's a challenge right there, everybody.
That's getting a Molson across the border.
That's a Molson.
They should get an award for that.
That's a special classification.
Don't call me to some back road and assault me.
Dude, you can come to Connecticut, man. You're welcome. You know where I live. You know
how far is Connecticut? Let's see.
Probably about 12 hours, maybe.
Probably
15 hours. Anyway, while you're
let me Google that.
When you go to
Google,
while you go to the Google,
we're gonna say 73. Wave to everybody, and I'm gonna hit the button.
Walt, thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm really hoping somebody from Tennessee invites me.
Every time Molson Googles, we get in trouble.